love it when you finally get this thing on running, and then suddenly something pops up, this notification. It's like, why couldn't you have done this before the phone went live? It's like, oh gosh. But here we are. It's freezing cold outside. I didn't even look at the thermometer or whatever on the phone because I could tell the second I got out in the car. It was already starting to chill out in the garage, and it pretty our furnace is in the garage, so usually it stays somewhat above the temperature outside. Plus, yeah, yesterday I had to go out and run the snow thrower for the first time in years, and luckily I still had my little air compressor. Otherwise, I'd have had to use the big one. The big one, works, but it's a pain in the butt. To move it around, it's big. And because sure enough, yeah, both tires on the snow thrower were, you know, kaput. The thing that's sitting out there hasn't really been used that much, because we haven't really had a significant snowfall in, at least 3 years. But that's one of the great things about when we moved, is we moved away from the lakeside, because lake effect snow sucks. All right, trust me. It's not as bad as over in the snow belt on the other side of the state, but still. Uh, I love this. Yeah, I was sitting around on Monday night waiting for a call to come, informing us, look, don't come in tomorrow morning because there was a level 3 snow warning out for the county. And then sure enough, they call up and go, oh, everybody come in at 10. They didn't drop the level 3 snow warning until an hour after that. But still, they had everybody come in here. And you've got people who are driving in from, other states. Like there's a couple people who work in Indiana who drive here. There's people who live a couple hours from here who have to drive here. And I'm sitting there going, wow. It used to be back in the day, it was pretty much a given that the plant was shut down that day, especially when, businesses, schools, hospitals, even all the medical facilities besides the hospital were closed. But nope, you can still come in and do 4 hours. I'm like, forget it. I'm like, are you kidding me? It took me, I can't remember how long, and just to tunnel out my driveway with the snow thrower. I don't even imagine what it was like for those folks who don't have a snow thrower. Ugh. Plus the temp was so low. Even, with gloves on and all that, I had to come in, every so often, because my hands would be freezing to death, even through gloves or whatever I had on. I think my testicles were frozen by the time I got done the first time around. But okay, but it's insane, that commerce must go on. Industry must happen. Ugh. And of course, we got all that craziness going on here in the States. It's like, folks, you've been infiltrated. It's that simple. It was a long game, I think, and somebody played it pretty well. And now everybody is once again out there, on each other's butts over things they have no control over and shouldn't even be bothering with and never did before. Hey, we got people out there protesting for like a new country now every week. It's like, free this, free that. I'm looking forward to, like I said, sooner or later, I'm going to flip on my computer, throw on a stream, and there's going to be a bunch of people going, free, free Atlantis. It's been under the oppressive force of the ocean for the last few thousand years, and we must free it. Oh. Oh, well. Yeah, it's pretty nasty out here. Like I said, temperature-wise. So it's going to be a fun walk in and out of the building for the next few days because Even though, the snow warning was lifted, we still had a winter cold advisory all the way through today. But as long as the roads are passable and the parking lot can be parked in, they don't care. It's not like they ain't going to make us work overtime to make up for all this crap later anyway. But what can you do? Yep, I've been in -20 before, but it was years ago. That's back when I was delivering newspapers. That was a fun morning. I was in a snowsuit with a winter jacket on over that, wearing a ski mask with a boggin like this one over the top of the ski mask and a hood on my jacket tied down. And I was still, oh my God, with thick gloves delivering papers. Oy vey. Oh. Never forget, because all the back roads were frozen and I was literally going diagonal down the road because I was in an 83 LTD with rear wheel drive. Luckily, there was no one out at the hours that I delivered papers, especially on the side streets, because it was literally like driving on an ice sheet. I know it's going to be a fun walk into the building. I know that much, yeah. Especially because even from where I'm parked right now here in the handicap section, it's still quite a hike. Well, like I said, it's warm in the car. It's just what I'm not looking forward to walking into work for even from here. And trust me, if it weren't for the fact that, they're monitoring, all my stuff pretty closely these days, even though I've done pretty much nothing wrong, I'm being very careful about using call-off days now because yep, it is frozen like the future of Doctor Who. I love it. Everybody's still speculating and shit about going on, and allegedly have Reddit leaks about this and that. And I'm like, guys, they ain't even started filming yet. They haven't even started pre-production yet. They haven't even gotten together and had a table read yet. I don't even think there's a script been handed in yet. Meanwhile, RTD's running around having a good old time with his new friend. I don't know who it is. Well, I can't remember I think I remember the guy's name, but still. It's like, dude, you have to accept some respect. Everybody harps on Chibnall. Chibnall this, Chili. Yeah, but at least his show, he didn't have anything as bad as the finales that happened under RTD. Remember, RTD is going to come, but we need to go back to the roots of the golden age of Tenet and all this. And yeah, RTD was going to ride in like the Great White Knight and save the whole show. And, well, we saw how that turned out. And it's like, I like that people are still calling that 70-something yards thing the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, folks, the whole premise of it fell apart at the beginning. I'm like, so let me get this straight. Because the Doctor spread some salt at a thing at the end of the universe, he opened up the thing to supernatural forces. So now breaking a fairy circle now effectively affects time. So now, you got Millie Gibbo running around, in this alternate timeline or whatever. Well, yeah, it's going to be an audio thing, if I remember right. It's going to be Tom Baker, John Leeson. Okay, no, I have no idea what you're talking about there, Raj. Well, here's the thing. As much as I have faith in Dave Filoni and all that, remember, Jon Favreau also wrote quite a bit of the new episodes of those new series. Like, come on, Favreau. So you got to give him some credit. The problem is also, like I said, everybody props everybody up like they're just going to shit solid gold. And the second one thing goes wrong that they don't like, suddenly they're toppling the guy down off his throne and beating the snot out of him. Ugh. Look what they did to Moffat towards the end. Look what they did to RTD in his first run, on Doctor Who. And Chibnall, he never had a chance. Second he announced he had a female doctor, it was over. Because you had a bunch of weirdo influencers running around saying it was all going to suck. And when you have that pounded into your head, you're not going to enjoy the program for what it is. So like I said, I wish Filoni all the luck in the world. But as I said before, don't blame Kathleen Kennedy. There's only one person you can blame for what happened to Star Wars. And you folks who've been watching this channel now know exactly what name I'm going to say. It's George effing Lucas. He should have never sold out his dream for a few $billion to Disney. He should have known what Disney was going to do. He should have never sold Star Wars to Disney, period. Now, sure, we did get some good things out of it. We got The Mandalorian and stuff like that, Book of Boba Fett. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of Ahsoka Tano because to me it's just the Star Wars Rebels reunion hour. Where now Ezra's Space Jedi Jesus, and now Sabine has force powers out of nowhere that never showed up before. And like I said, that's why I really tried to get into Ahsoka Tano, but I know that what they're going to do. They're just going to, Thrawn can't be in charge of the Empire now because of all that bull crap in the sequel trilogy. Where Snoke, I think, was supposed to turn out to be Darth Plagueis, but Rian Johnson had him killed in the second movie before he found out. Yeah, it's just going to get worse because the problem is the sequel trilogy, like I said, I got nothing against Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, anybody, because it shouldn't have happened. The second that, Carrie Fisher had passed away, they could have easily re-edited the movie so that Mark Hamill could have been around for the third. It's not like you have to bring back every copy of the film and have it done anymore. No, it's a download. You could have easily changed the ending so that that stupid "I exhausted myself" and ploppity plop, there went my robe, so I became one with the Force, blah blah. It's like, guys, what? Carrie Fisher ain't going to be around to do the third movie. And she was supposed to have a much larger role in the third movie. And so now you got to go, okay, we killed off Han Solo. Sadly, Carrie Fisher's passed away. That leaves us with Mark Hamill, who's more than willing to do it. And Mark Hamill never liked what they did with Luke Skywalker, and I never did either. I could go on about that for days. But, yeah, trust me, I kind of agree with you there, Black Phoenix. They should just completely ignore the sequel trilogy. Call it a time Eddie. Call it whatever the hell you want, because it was garbage. Like I said, if ramming a starship, using a hyperdrive was that easy. For one, hyperdrive does not work that way. Then all they had to do in order to take out the Death Star was, get a bunch of droids to run a bunch of, old freighters, run them at hyperdrive through the damn thing till you hit the nuclear reactor. Ugh. But like I said, it's all done and over with now. Nothing we can do about it. Hopefully we'll get some good stuff in the future, But like I said, I can't solely blame Kathleen Kennedy, because the only person I blame for the failure of Star Wars and where it went was George Lucas. Because he basically showed that even your dreams, with a big enough price tag, can be bought. Well, hyperdrive is supposed to be like kind of using a wormhole type effect. You're not even in the same plane or whatever. You kind of go into a hyperspace dimension. That's why they called it hyperspace. That's how transwarp drive was going to work. So transwarp drive in Star Trek would have basically been hyperdrive. So that's why when I did Dr. Freedom and Eric, hyperdrive was first referred to as transwarp, and then what do you call it? Well, I got to start meandering inside through the tundra. So wherever you are today, please keep warm, stay safe, and we'll weather out the cold, and hopefully spring's around the corner. But so please be kind, be calm, be safe. Take care, everyone, and we will hopefully see you all again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.